The snow has returned. What is up, everybody? For this video, I wanted to give you guys a look at the front lip that is on my truck. I don't think anybody has really noticed it yet, but I think a few people might have noticed that something looked different after the fog light video, but maybe weren't able to quite place it. I put a different lip on the truck. Of course, you guys know after I put the fog lights on, the stock valence had to come off because it was all busted up anyway, so I just removed it completely. And I left like the middle piece. You can still see the little middle piece of the valence on there. And the truck didn't look quite right without a valence on. It looked kind of funny. So I went and made a front lip out of garden edging. This garden edging I went and bought for like $20 or something at the hardware store. This is just the regular stuff you get in a roll. I have some of it still laying over here. So this is it right here. That's what it looks like. It comes in a giant roll. I might even be able to find the piece of it that has the tag right there. 6-inch deep edge, so it's a 6-inch lip, basically 6 inches deep, and it was cheap and it's very durable. That stuff is, you know, made to just be stuck in the ground, hit by weed whackers and stuff. So it's extremely durable, and I want to show you guys exactly how I went about making it, because the way I had to do it was a little bit weird. First issue I ran into, even after it was all done, was that it was curled really bad because they roll it so tight. So what I did to fix the curl, and I might need to go back and redo it a little bit again, but inside of the front piece, which is totally straight, there is a piece of rebar in there actually. I don't remember what size rebar. There's a piece of rebar I took and shoved in there. You can see some rust leaking out of there from it being in there and rusting. But yeah, there's a giant piece of rebar that runs from like right here and right here. That way the very ends of the lip would curve so that it would kind of fit the shape of the bumper a little bit. Of course, this has started to curve a little bit more than that, but I'm probably not going to even worry about it. And then I'd put some in the ends right here as well. And I believe, no, there isn't any in here, but there is another smaller section about this long in this part of it as well to straighten that out. And then it's just normal curve. And then to mount it, it's just self-tapper straight through the bumper. I had to pre-drill the holes because this bumper is so thick before I could get self-tappers to go in, because otherwise it wasn't going to work. So, like, I don't know how much the rebar was. I had it laying around for the longest time. I don't even remember what I bought it for. Let's just say that much rebar is $10 and the lip is $20. Paid $30 for pretty decent looking lip. This one in particular, I made it 3-piece. Just because it worked a little bit easier trying to cut it by hand and everything, so it splits right here where the fog light is. It's not perfect, but I wasn't going to worry too much about it. I just wanted something there because the thing just looked really goofy. And from like even just a couple of feet away, it looks fantastic. I really like it. I was really happy with how it looked on there. Looks better than the stock one, and it's a lot cheaper and easier than buying a factory one and putting it on and then trying to make it fit on there around the fog lights, which is part of the issue I was having. And at least this one, if it starts to come loose, I'll be able to tell, because that is. But I mean, you can come down here and kick it and stuff. It's not going anywhere at all. It's not very flimsy either. It's pretty sturdy. You can come up here and bump it, but that's a good thing. And the other good thing about the design is that the truck's not low enough for it to really happen, but if you have something low enough and you hit I don't know, like a curb or a sidewalk or something, parking or whatever, it's going to just flex and then spring back. That's all that'll happen to it. It won't damage it. And the bottom of it, part of the reason I liked this garden edging in particular is because of the bottom of it having this tube here, which really stiffens this whole thing up. Otherwise, this thing would just be all loose and stuff. And I was originally going to cut that off, but I chose not to, and I'm pretty glad that I didn't, because it looks kind of nice having that little, I don't know what you would call that at the very bottom of it, but it makes it a lot stronger and a lot sturdier for sure. And if it scrapes against something, it's not just going to tear it up or rip it or anything. It's going to have a lot harder time getting through it. I guess that's just about it. That's about all I can show you on it. I did cut this section off of it right here. This I cut off of it just because there was no way to really mount it up using that or anything. So I just took some tin snips and cut that off so that it was just straight. And I had to be very patient cutting it so that it would come out cleaner than at least, just hacking through it. And I sanded the top of it a little bit just to get rid of the rough edge it had in a few spots. The only thing I don't like is that these self-tappers I used, they've started rusting. So I may at some point get different ones, or maybe I'll rivet it into place. That would be a much cleaner look than these self-tappers are. And the only other flaws it has, it's got dimples where they stick a little thing through it to like hold the roll of it together. So there's a little hole right there, and there's another little hole right there, but you can hardly notice it. From a distance you can't tell. Up close you can see it a little bit. The only other thing that you'll want to be careful of, and I didn't do a perfect job of it, is you'll want to maybe do a better job of pulling it tight while you're self-tapping it, because I've got a little bit of, I don't know what they call it, bacon or whatever, what all the stance people call it. I've got a small gap right here, another small one right here, and that was the other reason I split it right here around here and cut it in 3 pieces, is because I had another giant gap right there as well. And then I don't think there's any on this end. There's just a couple on that side. I did a lot better on this side, but I did the driver's side before I did the passenger side. So if I were to redo the whole thing, I'd probably do a much cleaner job of it. And the ends up here kind of curled up and stuff. But for the money, it looks great. It looks, I don't even know if you can get a lip on eBay. There's like a universal one that is that big and that cheap. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'm not sure. I just wanted to make this video in case any of you guys had seen it, or maybe looked at the truck and were trying to figure out what looked different about it from the last couple videos before the fog lights video or whatever. So yeah, that's the lip I installed on it. Garden edging and some rebar to make it sit straight, and it looks good. It hasn't flown off. It's been on there for a month. And I mean, I can beat it up and whatever. And since that's the other good thing about it being 3-piece though, is if one end of it gets damaged, I've got extra stuff laying over there that I can just recut, refit, and put back on there. Whereas if it was 1 piece, I would have to replace the entire thing. So let's say something happens, I get hung up, this corner gets hung up on something and rips it out. I've got small sections over there I can cut in, reshape and redo. Or if I decide I want to redo the driver's side of it, I can just go ahead and do that. I've got extra pieces. I don't have to redo the entire length of it, which makes it a lot easier. So yeah, that's the budget garden edging lip. That's my interpretation of it. A lot of people have done it. It's a very popular thing, but I wanted to give you guys my personal version of it on my truck, and also wanted to just, I'm sure there was somebody that had to have been looking at it and couldn't figure out what was different, because I literally didn't make a video on it because I thought it was going to fail, and then it worked out a million times better than I thought it would, and was like, well, and then I just never mentioned it after that. I totally, every time I've been making a video, I've been forgetting to say anything about the lip that's on it. So yeah, that's it. About $30. You can put that on just about any vehicle you want, as long as you can bolt it straight like that. Rivets will probably hold up better and look nicer, but self-tappers, they get the job done as well. So I want to thank you guys very much for watching. Please hit that like button and subscribe, and please help me reach 1,000 subscribers before February 20th. And I'll see you guys later.